So it's been a while, but it's another honest Fanatec review on the channel, and you know on this channel is going to be super honest. And this is the Fanatec ClubSport Cockpit, which is a very controversial cockpit because it's not aluminium extrusion like the one you can see behind me here, and it's tubular. It's also quite expensive. So from what you can see here in terms of the cockpit and also the seat, it's about 1,200 euros. I think just for the cockpit, it's about 900, 950 euros. So that puts it really quite expensive above, say, the competition from Track Racer, GT Omega, I think maybe SimLab as well, who are using like the aluminium extrusion. So the question I'm going to try and answer in this first impressions video, because I've been using it for the whole weekend, and I want to let you know my thoughts on what's good and what's not good. Firstly, what is good is it is really easy to put together, and I mean that. I've put together lots of aluminium extrusion rigs in my time. I've done the whole cut myself, bleeding, swearing, dropping the seat on myself. I've been there, I've done it. This is the quickest rig I've ever built. It kind of comes pre-assembled on both sides, and then you use these kind of brackets or clamps to clamp in the two parts of the tube, and then you bolt it together, and then you drop on the seat, you drop on the pre-assembled pedal plate. It's super easy to put together. The way I put it together was there's a YouTube video by Fanatec. I think the inventor of the rig is actually the person going through and doing it. That is on the deceptively simple side. I think the inventor of this rig could assemble this rig in 30 minutes. It actually took me about 2 hours to do. But for me, 2 hours is not too bad. There's only one area of the rig that I'm not sold on when it comes to the kind of thought that's gone into it. I'll let you know what it is. If you see here, these are little tightening handle bolts that basically you loosen when you want to slide the pedal plate back and forwards, and you tighten when you want it in place. Now, unless I'm missing something, these handles are wider than where you have this part of the cockpit. So I can't actually tighten it properly where I want the pedal plate to be. I could tighten it properly if the pedal plate was a bit further back. Other than that, everything else seemed to be really thought through. So you can see here, there's more of these sort of wing handle bolts to tighten this, to slide the steering wheel base back and forwards. The seat is obviously also slidable back and forwards as well. The pedal tray is slidable back and forwards. So there's full adjustability on seat, wheelbase and pedals, which is what you want. Another con, and I think I just get away with this, is this steering wheel assembly does come down quite low, and there are two different ways you can mount it, either high up or slightly less high up. I've mounted it the highest up it will go, and you can see I only just have clearance on these Thrustmaster Raceline pedals. Now, some other pedals or some other positions, or if you'll have a different body shape, you might be hitting that. Now, I think there are probably ways around it in terms of the mounting, and you can slide stuff back and forwards, but that's quite interesting. That I'm surprised that it kind of hits it there. Other kind of steering wheel mounts seem to be a bit narrower, so that's not a problem. So that's worth bearing in mind. In terms of stability, and there'll be some footage on screen of me racing this, albeit not on the world's most powerful wheelbase. This is the Thrustmaster T598 5 Newton meters. And it's pretty cool to see the interoperability, like Fanatec Cockpit, Thrustmaster base. I haven't noticed any flex whatsoever. Like, I haven't noticed it. There may well be some that you'll see on the camera. I haven't seen the camera footage yet, but in terms of how I'm doing it, I'm not expecting any flex. I would say the pedal tray is an old school pedal tray with slats in. It's not T-slot aluminium, and I've got quite used to T-slot aluminium pedal trays basically, which means you can really screw everything in super tight, and you don't have to mess around with a nut and washer underneath or on top. You can just screw straight in. Doing the Thrustmaster T598 pedals here was definitely more of a pain than if you're just bolting onto kind of T-slot aluminium. That's probably the only aspect of this rig that I feel is not on the premium side, because T-slot feels premium. And by the way, there is still T-slot here, like these accessories on the side, which I've mounted, I think, probably back to front, because I want the camera to be a bit further away from me. They do have T-slot in, and I've been able to mount in my camera through T-slot, a microphone thing here as well. But this rig does feel really premium. The seat is part of that. This is one of the comfiest seats I've ever had in sim racing. It's bucket, but it's comfortably bucket. It's not like my GT Omega bucket seat that's kind of aggressively bucket that I really like, but some people are too big for it. This, I think, has got a lot of space, and feels very, very, very breathable. Does not feel sweaty at all. It feels super, super light and breathable. Feels like almost exercise equipment or something like that. The way that the pedal tray and the steering wheel tray slide back and forwards feels really premium, really nice. I like what they've done there. And just the finish of it as well just looks really premium. I think definitely, if you're looking to get this, I would get it in white. I just think the black on white looks so good. It's really, really, it's a really nice modern finish for me. And it actually separates it from the aluminium extrusion rigs, of which most of them are kind of like powdered black. However, you do get some sort of silvery, just like pure aluminium. And some people do anodize and put them blue or red, but it's quite rare. I was actually speaking with the head of sim racing at Cooler Master, and they also have a vision to do tubular rigs because they think these things are just more stylish. And they are more stylish. And I think I do notice it as well. It does feel like a nice thing when you slide into the cockpit. And it does feel a little bit more like a cockpit than a rig. The way it's shaped at the front, the way this base in particular feels like a fairing, almost like the way it kind of like is set equidistance here is really, really, really cool. It is a big rig. It does take up more space than the previous rig I was using here, which is the unbelievable Indigo Lime 1XRF. Not as good a name as a Fanatec ClubSport Cockpit. That one actually folds, that's pretty insane. But this one is a little bit wider. It's tubular. The tubes are hollow. So if you're watching this and think, oh, the tube's solid, no, they're hollow. But it's not a light rig either. In the video they do, the inventor's kind of by himself lifting it up and putting, feet on it, etc. That's really difficult to do. Like, this is a pretty big, solid rig. However, I think it will only take me half an hour to disassemble this rig. I think all I need to do really is unscrew 8 bolts here, all the same, and then the steering wheel assembly will come out. I need to just unscrew, crazily, I think 2 bolts on the slider for the pedal tray, and the pedal tray thing will all come out. And then the seat, I've got to unscrew 4 bolts, and then all I've got to do is unscrew a couple of pipes and the thing at the back, and then I'll have 2 halves of the rig again. So it is kind of a rig in 2 halves. I'm not worried about having to pack this rig or move this rig or whatever. So the main thing about this rig, and I started the video there, is price. 1,200 euros as far as I understand it, and that's before you get into accessories. And there are other accessories Fanatec have sent as part. This is a review rig they've sent me very bravely, because I've reviewed a lot of Fanatec stuff over the years. McLaren GT3 reel, absolutely loved it. WRC reel, didn't like it, especially the shifters. Fanatec V3 pedals, really like them. Other things didn't like so much. This rig definitely goes into like, this is a good Fanatec product. Question marks price and also customer service. But my biggest concern about buying this rig would actually not be the price, because I think if you're buying this rig, you're paying a premium for it looking better, it feeling more stylish. Like that, if you want a cheaper rig that's as sturdy, you can get aluminium extrusion, no problem. You're paying more here for the style and for that, I believe. It may be more sturdy than aluminium extrusion. I don't really know, but I would say it definitely feels as sturdy but more stylish. But it's really, I think, the customer service. If you buy this rig and you think there's some bolts missing, what's going to happen? Now, in my experience, having been sent the review unit, everything was packaged really neatly. The bags are all individually, they don't just give you a bag of bolts like other brands do. They're all individually numbered for the steps of the process, which for an idiot like me makes it really easy. That might be some Corsair influence, because when I bought Corsair stuff before, it's also really nicely packaged. So you go through bag number 1, bag number 2, bag number 3, everything was there. And then there was a bag of spare parts as well, which was absolutely amazing. Got some nice quality Allen keys as well. So I'm always interested to know what Allen keys. This one, they gave them one with a flexible head on it, which was really nice. So as a reviewer, the packaging and everything was absolutely fine, but that's my reviewer experience. People have had bad experience with Fanatec recently. When I say recently, over the last year, maybe up to 2 years, particularly on the steering wheel side, pedal side. Now, in some ways, this is a more complicated product than a wheelbase because you actually need to assemble it. When you buy a wheelbase, you just plonk it on and it should work. This one, there's a lot of work to do on it. So I would say it's actually a more complicated product. It's also probably more expensive than a lot of the Fanatec products as well. So that's going to be a big question. If this had come out 3 years ago, I would say this would be a real validation, a real aspirational purchase for a lot of existing Fanatec customers and people in sim racing who aspire to have Fanatec products. You'd be like, wow, I really want a Fanatec rig. In the same way, I really wanted a Fanatec CSL DD. I really wanted Fanatec V3 pedals, the combination of the style and the performance. I really wanted it. It was really aspirational. I saved up for it and I bought it. Whereas now, this might have to be a Fanatec kind of saviour product, because I don't know where Fanatec's reputation is right now. In fact, let me know what your experience with Fanatec is right now in the comments. But from my experience, first impressions, using it all week, as a rig, it's been really rock solid. It's been a bit of a pain to bolt the pedals on, trying to get my hand underneath. They have like a power brick tray underneath it that might just get in the way when you're trying to get your hands and hold the nuts, etc. You know, I can't tighten the pedal tray, so I had to work around and kind of like do some funny stuff so I could try and get it there. That might be my mistake, but to me, I would be surprised if they've done it like that, because everything else is so well thought out on this rig, down to the packaging of the screws, etc. And even the video they made is really helpful. I don't need to make a how to make this rig because the video they've got is absolutely fine. But other than those little tricky things, it's absolutely fine. It's a real pleasure for me to come into and sit and go sim racing. But this is a review unit. I haven't bought it. I haven't worried about if something hasn't been sent or if something's bent. Now, nothing hasn't been sent or is bent on this one, but that's something that's still going to be in the back of your mind. So maybe that's the big factor for Fanatec to overcome. And maybe as more people buy this rig, there will be more word of mouth, because this is a solid product. Right, those are my first impressions of the Fanatec ClubSport GT, I believe, cockpit. Let me know what you think in the comments, and there'll be a more in-depth review later down the line. I'll see you next time.